I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. This week, I think since last time you and I were together, Merrick Garland, who was slated to be a Supreme Court justice under the Obama administration, but Mitch McConnell stopped that process, and made a statement this past week regarding the appointment of a special counsel. Now, there's a lot of going back and forth on this whole matter because early on he said that he was not going to let politics or any other thing stand in the way of following the facts, and without fear or favor, he will follow where the facts lead. But now it appears that he has kind of doubled back on what he has said, and now has appointed a special counsel to oversee the investigation both into the January 6th event as to whether there was a conspiracy led by Tribulation Trump, and also the documents that were found, confiscation and obstruction of justice at Mar-A-Lago. So there is a new sheriff in town, if you will, called Jack Smith, who is now in The Hague prosecuting war criminals of the Kosovo event going back a few years ago. But what I find interesting about this is that and let me say this, Mr. Engineer, I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican, but I'm getting ready to say some things about Trump and about Merrick Garland and about where all this is going to go. So before I do that, let me just let you hear a statement I made some time ago.
Let me just say this, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not a Democrat, definitely ain't that. I'm not a Republican, sure enough, stomped on ain't that. I'm not a liberal, ain't gonna never be. And I'm not a conservative. I'm not that. I'm not a red boy or a blue boy. I'm the Lord's servant. Listen, I'm not here in support of Joe Biden and Camelback ain't Black Harris. The last thing on the planet Earth would be I'd be supporting them. I'm not. I don't have anything kind to say about them. I'm not here in support of Trump or any of the Trump supporters. I'm the Lord's servant. I ain't on nobody's side. I'm on the Lord's side. Let's be clear. All right, they'll be calling me a Biden supporter and I done flipped the wig and this, that, and the other. I did endorse Trump. I'll admit that I did, but not now.
All right, let me say this. Trump is going to be indicted. And not only is he going to be indicted, but once the first indictment falls, they're going to start falling like rain. I don't know if you remember the Morton salt box, a box from years ago said when it rains, it pours. Once the first indictment falls, they're going to start falling everywhere. Well, let me qualify that. That Merrick Garland would not have hired or appointed a special counsel in Jack Smith to leave his job at prosecuting war criminals at Kosovo if he was just going to come here to whitewash an investigation. Merrick Garland could do that himself. So it appears even Bill Barr, the former district attorney general for Trump, says that everything is there for the indictment. If he's not, so I'll qualify this, I say they're going to be indicted. If he's not indicted, if he is indicted, all hell's going to break loose. And if he's not indicted, all double hell's going to break loose. So let me qualify it, put it that way. There's a potential that they would just, and another segment, probably another time, I will cover why Merrick Garland is now getting, cold feet, and he's scared to walk up and indict Trump. So he's hired somebody else to do it. But not only, if Trump is indicted, here's the other thing. You got to see the scenario because you probably can't imagine it in your mind, or maybe you can. If Trump is indicted, he would have to be arrested. Now, they could arrange to arrest him. They could call him up and say, we're going to be coming to Mar-A-Lago. We got federal agents. They're going to come and inform your Secret Service detail that's been guarding you all these years that we're coming. We'll set this up, get this all cleared, and we're going to be coming to Mar-A-Lago on, Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. We're not going to come at 5:30 like we normally do, knock on the door and drag you out of bed. We're going to tell you that, but they're going to have to arrest him. That you can't, or possibly what they can do is this. They can say, well, listen, Trump, you've been indicted. The grand jury has indicted you. Now, you can come into the courtroom or you can come to the field office of the FBI and you can be indicted there, and we can drive you over to the courtroom, or we can meet you in the courthouse. We meet you in the courthouse, we go into a private room, read you your rights, put handcuffs on you. Put handcuffs on you because you have to do that. Put handcuffs on you, march you to the judge, and we'll be waiting. There'll be nobody, no other case but your case to be heard. We'll march you to the judge, but we're gonna have to put these handcuffs on you, Trump. If they indict him, that's what they're gonna have to do. And Trump is gonna have to stand before a judge. He cannot say, I refuse, and I executive, he can't do none of that. Once a criminal indictment is handed down, he's going to have to stand and face the music. Now, listen, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not an independent. I'm the Lord's servant. I'm not saying this because I'm joyful or gleeful. That's not. I'm just telling you what's in the wind, what's on the drums. I'm not saying this because I hate Trump or love Biden. I'm for neither one of them. Listen to me now. Don't just get it out of your mind that I'm just saying this because I hate Trump. I'm not a hater of him. The Lord did say he's the trigger of the tribulation. But, I mean, is it possible he will not be indicted? Yeah, it is. But if he's not indicted, you can kiss America goodbye. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what I believe if Trump runs again and he wins, because Trump is going to slaughter that Ron DeSantis boy and that Mike Pence ain't got a pence to piss with. So he can forget president. He ain't going to never be president, that Mike Pence boy. But if Trump wins again, I'm going to talk to you about what's going to happen there. So now, is it possible for him not to be indicted? Possibly, yeah. But I think that he's going to, and when he does, this boy Jack Smith, who he says is an independent, he's, worked as a DA here in the New York area, worked in Tennessee, and, he's been pretty stellar in his career, a graduate of Harvard, which is another thing. And so Mr. Jack Smith goes to Washington to take up the case, and he's not going to handle all the cases, but just those two cases. And the Lord said to me that Trump is the trigger of the tribulation, so it would, either way, if Trump is indicted, it'll further pour fuel on already divided America. And if he's not indicted, it'll further pour fuel on an already indicted. So it's 20 if you do and 20 if you don't. Either way, he's the trigger of the tribulation. To indict him, I think that people, what I tell you about if Trump wins, if he runs in 2024, and he slaughters everybody else and wins, Trump will indict Obama. Now, we'll get to that. That's another segment, probably for another time. I'm coming to it, though. Hold your ears out, because I'm coming to that. But the Lord said that he's the trigger of the tribulation. And so far, he has succeeded. We're looking at things happening in America now. We just never thought that we'd ever see anything like this before. We never thought that. But Trump he's still very powerful. There's nobody in the Republican Party as powerful as him. There's probably nobody else. The only person that's more powerful than Trump right now is Obama. And I'm not here praising either one of them. I'm just telling you what I see. So let's run on and see what the end is going to be. When I tell you, it will be, what kind of day in America would it be? And how, can I give my opinion? Now I'm going to let y'all go. My opinion on was it right to appoint a special counsel? I think not. I think it was the wrong thing to do. Because it's not going to stop Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ted Cruz and Jim Jordan and Lauren Boebert and, Matt Gaetz. It ain't going to stop them from raising holy you-know-what over the fact that Trump's indictment is pretty imminent. It's not going to stop them. It's not going to stop the Republican Party from doing what they're going to do. So I think it's pretty much a waste of time. I'm not even ready to hear the argument that it separates the fact that Garland is an appointee by Biden. That don't mean nothing. Ultimately, the buck stops at Merrick Garland anyway. So, how can America get ready both economically and spiritually to see Trump in handcuffs? How can America get ready to see Trump standing before a magistrate and criminal charges being read against him? And how do we as Americans get ready for once that indictment falls for 18 months to 2 years of building up in the courts, getting ready to see Trump face a jury? America never thought about anything like that before. America's never thought about anything like that before. So how do we get ready? How do we get ready economically? Will there be what? How do we get ready? Will there be civil war? Will bullets fly? How do we get ready? Will Wall Street crumble? How do we get ready? What's going to happen? Will Russia come to Trump's aid? Will Vladimir Putin step in and say, I'm going to help my friend Trump? Will the president or prime minister of Turkey step in? Will it cause the nations that are associated? Will Kim Jong-un fire how do we prepare for the indictment of Trump? How do we do that? Will Kim Jong-un say, I'm going to help my friend Trump? And at the same time make himself rich and powerful? Will America lose its luster? How do we get ready? How? And how do you get ready? How do we face all of this? Because it ain't going to be pretty. I can tell you that right now. It ain't going to be pretty. And then the other thing, of course, if they don't indict him, how do we get ready for Trump to be president forever? Because if they don't indict him, he's going right back to Washington, going right back. If they don't indict him, Kevin McCarthy may reinstate him or he'll win again in 2024. And he'll never leave. He'll never leave. So how do we get ready for this? It's called reading Matthew's Gospel, chapter 24, verse 7 and following, regarding the tribulation. That's how we get ready for it. We get down on our knees. We get down on our knees. It's Matthew 24, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for that's all this thing. This must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. You ain't never seen nothing. The World War II, World War I was, and after that there will be famines and pestilences. Vladimir Putin right now got the power to starve Africa, make everybody over there in Africa die in the next 6 months. Putin got the power to shut off the breadbasket of Africa. So how do we get ready for this? We get ready for the tribulation. That's what we do. That's how we get ready. Indictment or no indictment, either way, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Me, I'm going to keep teaching. I'm James A. Manning. I'm the Lord's servant.